Since Kha'Zix relies on finding isolated targets on normal skin, for example, it's harder to see an isolated target. Meanwhile, on mecha skin the circle is more noticeable. On this skin the hooks are harder to see. You can see the difference between skins. Visual effects on this Q are much harder to see in-game. On this skin her auto attack animation and her Q animation are really similar, which can confuse players. Also, both her Q and E animations are slightly transparent and can be harder to see. In this skin his ultimate and other abilities are much harder to see, which makes it much harder to dodge. You can see the difference between skins. In this skin her arrow is harder to see, but it's also a lot smaller than the hitbox of the ability, which makes it harder to dodge. On this skin her Q is much harder to notice, but also travel speed seems much slower than her other skins. Same problem is with her E and ultimate as well, where they are hard to see. On this skin her root is harder to see and it seems a bit smaller, which makes it much harder to dodge. On this skin his Q animation it's much thinner and it looks like it goes further than on the base skin. You can see the difference between Classic Jace and Forsaken Jace. On this skin there is an indicator which tells you that your W is fully developed. For example, on base Bard skin there is no indicator for time it takes to proc full heal, meanwhile on Snow Day Bard you can clearly see when W is fully developed. When you are keeping track of Diana's passive on classic skin, when she has third auto attack she glows, but on her infernal skin she is already glowing, so it makes it harder to track to notice. The Q on this skin appears to be much smaller than the other skins, which makes it harder to dodge and leads to unexpected knockups. On this skin it's really hard to see her spells because her abilities blend in with Summoner's Rift. You can see that on classic skin it's much easier to see her Q, meanwhile on just sticker skin is much harder to see. On this skin his Q has an extra large hitbox size while the particle is very small at same moment. Hitbox is wider than what the particle shows. Her auto attack animations are much smoother, which makes last hitting much easier compared to a regular skin, and her abilities are darker, which makes it difficult for opponent to dodge. This skin is perfect for Baron and Dragon fights because it matches with river color. It's very difficult to see his ultimate because it blends very easily with terrain. Similar to a Nivea skin, it's great for fight around Baron and Dragon. On her Q the particle is same as the empowered version with Inception, that is minorly bigger in size. The particle on her Q is much more narrow than it seems. On this Gragas skin his ultimate becomes practically invisible because it blends in with terrain of Summoner's Rift and it's harder to notice. On this Shin skin his abilities are harder to see since they blend really well with Summoner's Rift terrain, they are harder to hear as well. As you can see his ultimate is really hard to spot compared to his other skins. Her ultimate has particle effects same as color of her charm, which leads to players using flash before Ari actually cast her E.